Well, here we are again. I don't think it's any secret. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton joined her husband in defying a bipartisan lawful congressional subpoena to show up today. I think what's most disappointing to the Oversight Committee is the fact that we have, in good faith, negotiated with the Clintons' attorneys for 5 months. Throughout the past 5 months, they've implied to us they were trying to make a date work. In fact, the last date we had, they notified us 3 days beforehand, said that they would love to come, but they have a funeral to attend. And we have bent over backwards to try to schedule.
Congressman, did you answer
I'm still talking. I'm still talking.
They offered sworn
Hey, get him out of here. You're not even a reporter. Get out of here. So here's the situation. We're going to hold both Clintons in criminal contempt of Congress. We believe that because this subpoena was issued in a bipartisan fashion, the Democrats acted the day that the subpoenas were voted on in the subcommittee like they wanted the Clintons to come, because they at that time, if you go back, they were wanting me to subpoena the estate, which I did. We subpoenaed the estate and got all the documents, everything. That was what the victims asked. That's what the Democrats asked. I think that's what the American people wanted. We subpoenaed the estate, got 100% of the documents.
Welcome back to 45th Perspective. Today's video is a thoughtful reaction and analysis of a recent U.S. Senate hearing that has been making waves across the political landscape. This hearing centers on the state of the U.S. economy, recent policy decisions, and competing claims about economic performance, accountability, and who is really benefiting from the numbers being presented to the public. Before we dive in, take a quick second to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and help us grow this community. If you want to support 45th Perspective beyond YouTube, you can also join us on Patreon at patreon.com/45th Perspective for as low as $5 a month. Your support helps keep these long-form, fact-driven conversations going. Now, let's talk about the hearing itself.
Subpoenaed the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi for the documents, which they are producing. Now, we don't like the speed. We all wish the documents would come in quicker, but we've gotten tens of thousands of pages of documents from the Department of Justice. And remember, they made a big document drop, and the Democrats cried foul because they said they didn't
demanded redactions.
Right, they wanted more redactions. So they're double and triple checking this. And the Department of Justice is complying with our lawful subpoena. The estate complied with our lawful subpoena. Bill Barr, Alex Acosta came in and were deposed because of our lawful subpoena. This same lawful subpoena was issued to the Clintons, and they defied it. And you know, Bill Clinton's trying to play the victim card here. Only Bill Clinton could try to triangulate something that's happened, a terrible atrocity to these survivors that have had to endure who knows what from Epstein and Maxwell.
And their associates.
So we're trying to get answers to the American people. We're serious about it. Once again, not a single Democrat showed up. You know how many depositions we've done? There's always a Democrat here. The former President of the States, former Secretary of State, neither one of them, not a single Democrat here. So I think the questions that should be asked to the Democrats on the committee are do you still support hearing from the Clintons? Because, you know, some have asked, what's Hillary got to do with anything? Well, Jeffrey Epstein claimed, and I don't know if this is true or not, because I think a lot of what Jeffrey Epstein said was just not true, but he has said that he helped set up the Clinton Foundation. There are records that would imply that Epstein helped raise money for the Clinton Foundation. And the last thing, we are going to depose Maxwell. As you know, I've subpoenaed Maxwell. We have, and her lawyers asked us to wait till the Supreme Court or the court ruled on her appeal. Then the lawyer said she was going to plead the fifth. We are going to depose Maxwell. We felt like Hillary Clinton could offer some information on Maxwell.
Did you offer
because
a statement
Hillary,
into the record, sir? She
remember,
offered you a statement
Maxwell
after
attended
sworn.
Chelsea Clinton's. Maxwell attended Chelsea
Will you
Clinton's
be calling
wedding.
Chelsea Clinton?
So, obviously,
The Cartoon Network called. They
Dude,
want you
thank
to
you.
take your
These are
job
basic
back,
questions,
okay?
sir.
I'm trying to answer questions. We've got a paid disruptor here, so this is. I feel like the Clintons have initiated the war room.
Sir, I'm not
the
paid.
press
You're paid by the
yesterday.
people.
The press yesterday was pretty fair, I think, about Bill Clinton not coming because again, this was a bipartisan congressional subpoena. The Democrats voted for this.
Why
too.
aren't they standing behind
And
you, sir?
and the so yeah. So go ahead. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, do you have any idea of timing of when this might hit the House floor, and will both
Yes.
of these advance through
Yes.
committee?
When will this hit the House floor? We're going to vote on it in committee Wednesday, so we're giving plenty of notice. We're having a markup, a regularly scheduled markup for the House Oversight Committee. We will mark up criminal contempt of Congress charges for both Clintons for defying a legal subpoena. Once it passes the committee, then it will go to the full House floor for a vote. They have to notice it 3 days and all
Sir,
that.
are you making available to the Chairman their sworn statement under
Yes, there
perjury?
is obviously criticism that this is a political stunt. Why not focus your attention on trying to get the rest of the Epstein files released, the 99% of those documents?
We've gotten hundreds of thousands of pages
There are
of
5
Epstein
million.
files released, and we're still focused on getting the Epstein files released, and they're releasing the documents.
We can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can
can
work
chew
on
gum
getting the
1% of the
documents,
time.
and we can also work on deposing witnesses that have firsthand knowledge of the events circling and
Did you
surrounding
depose-
Epstein.
Why aren't you asking the
Chairman,
Democrats
what do
why
you
they
think
didn't
their
redact the
no-show
file, why they
says
wanted
to
to
you
redact the files?
as chairman of the committee pushing for transparency and accountability of the elites with the Epstein issue? What does the Clintons no-show say to you?
What do the Clintons not showing? Well, it's very unfortunate. I mean, this is something, if you go back to that committee hearing when it was voted on in a bipartisan manner, there were several names that were agreed to subpoena.
Sir, what
Obviously,
Democrats
Bill Barr,
specifically voted for that?
listen,
These are
you
simple
need
questions.
The record's public. You can take a look
No,
at
it's
it.
not. It's a
Yes,
voice vote.
no,
No,
the
sir, you are
record's
incorrect in your
all right,
line.
I just want to note for the people that are watching this live that there's a paid disruptor here that's acting very badly. I don't know where security is, but
You can't do it, sir. You
look,
cannot
there's
do it.
something. Just
By the way,
listen,
I'm having a
listen.
conversation with you.
I can't answer questions with this guy, which is what you
This
want.
guy
It's
knows
just
that there was sworn
No,
statements provided
I'm not.
yesterday that you have not been
Are you able to answer my question?
One more
about-
question. One more question for anybody up here.
Here you go.
Suggestions that they're willing to appear before your committee in an open setting. Would you be willing to do that?
I think that's something we can talk about. But you remember,
We're talking about it
Hunter Biden said that, and he never did show. So
Hunter Biden
I
did.
think that the Democrats are trying to stall, hoping that something else will happen. They're wanting to turn the attention off of the Clintons, which I think is very unfortunate because a week ago the Democrats on the Oversight Committee wanted to hear from the Clintons. They wanted to hear from everybody.
Well, that's an allegation, right? Obviously, they didn't show up today. They're only interested in this subject when it
Mr.
doesn't
Carver, have you
involve
called the Clintons
victims
a
and it
crime
doesn't
suspect on
involve the
television?
political operatives in their party. That's
Did
the
you
only
say
time
that on
they're
television?
interested. When it involves the Clintons or victims, obviously, they're actually not interested, unfortunately.
So here's the real question. Why wouldn't you want to have Bill Clinton come in and testify?
Why wouldn't you want to have Loretta
Why
Lynch?
wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want Hillary Clinton
Did she
to come in
provide
and
a statement,
testify?
sir?
Why wouldn't you want to hear from them? Well, the Democrats did vote with us. They did vote
Name
with
them.
us. And they didn't show up today. No members showed up today. They sent their staff, but they didn't show up.
Maybe they knew that the secretary was not going to show up.
Yeah,
Did you
and
submit-
I would also suggest to you that in their statement, they said they indicated they would like Ghislaine Maxwell to come testify. We would too.
We would too.
And so the question I pose to them is, do you want us to go in? Because as far as I know, I'm one of the few that have actually gone into the federal penitentiaries to actually depose people. So we're willing to do that if that's what the Democrats
We're
want.
going to do that.
Yeah,
We're going to.
or
Congressman,
they want us to
simple
bring her
question.
here.
Did
So
you accept their
the-
statement
this
into
is-
the record? It is a
this-
sworn statement under 18
this is what
USC 1001.
people should be asking, and
You can't even look me in the eye.
the Democrats don't want to be here today. Maybe they knew she wasn't going to come, but the bottom line is this:
Did you enter her
The
sworn
Democrats-
statement into the record?
the Democrats voted for this, They didn't show. We hope that next time they'll show. We hope they'll be there and voted for contempt next Wednesday. The other question I asked them is a million documents were produced. The Democrats asked that they be redacted, didn't feel they'd been redacted enough. I asked, what kind of redactions are they looking for? And hopefully we'll get an answer on that. But we didn't get an answer today because no Democrats showed today. But these are important questions. We're trying to get this information out and have been trying to get the information out.
Congressman,
And we're going to leave it. It's unfortunate this disruptor was here. We'll be happy to answer questions throughout the day about this. We're serious about getting the truth to the American people. It's unfortunate the Clintons didn't show because this was a bipartisan congressional subpoena. So thank you all very much.
Thanks.
did you accept their sworn subpoenas?
This Senate hearing was called to examine economic policy outcomes, particularly in light of strong claims coming from the executive branch about record-breaking growth, investment, and market performance. On one side, administration allies argued that recent economic data proves that current policies are working. On the other side, critics questioned whether those numbers tell the full story, pointing to inflation pressures, wage stagnation for some workers, rising debt, and uneven benefits across different income groups. At its core, this hearing wasn't just about charts and statistics. It was about narrative. Who gets credit when the economy looks strong, who takes responsibility when people are struggling, and whether headline numbers actually reflect everyday reality for ordinary Americans. Several senators opened the hearing by highlighting top-line indicators. Gross domestic product growth has remained positive. Stock markets have reached or hovered near record highs. Corporate investment numbers look strong on paper. Supporters of current economic leadership framed this as evidence of sound policy, arguing that tax incentives, deregulation, and aggressive trade positioning have encouraged businesses to invest domestically and expand operations. They emphasized that investor confidence matters because it signals long-term stability. According to this view, when markets are confident, retirement accounts grow, pensions become more secure, and businesses are more willing to hire and raise wages. The argument is that economic momentum starts at the top and eventually works its way down. But this is where the questioning became more intense. Opposing senators pushed back by asking a very simple but powerful question. Strong for whom? They pointed out that while the stock market is often used as a shorthand for economic health, a significant portion of Americans don't own stocks in a meaningful way. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, record market highs may not feel relevant to your daily life. Some senators cited data showing that housing costs remain high in many regions, healthcare expenses continue to rise, and consumer debt, especially credit card debt, has increased. They argued that even if inflation has cooled compared to earlier spikes, prices remain elevated relative to wages for many households. From this perspective, saying inflation is defeated can sound disconnected from lived experience. The hearing also touched on job growth. Administration defenders pointed to low unemployment figures and consistent job creation. They argued that a strong labor market gives workers more leverage, leading to higher wages and better benefits. They also highlighted gains in manufacturing and energy sectors, framing them as signs of renewed domestic strength. Critics acknowledged that job numbers matter, but they urged the committee to look deeper. What kind of jobs are being created? Are they full-time or part-time? Do they come with benefits? Are wages keeping up with cost of living increases? One senator noted that a job recovery doesn't automatically mean a quality of life recovery. This back and forth revealed a broader philosophical divide about how we measure success. Is success primarily about aggregate growth and investor confidence, or should it be measured by affordability, stability, and long-term security for families? Another major focus of the hearing was government spending and national debt. Supporters argued that strong growth can help offset rising debt levels, especially if increased investment leads to higher tax revenues over time. They framed current spending as necessary to maintain competitiveness, fund infrastructure, and ensure national security. Opponents were more skeptical. They warned that rising debt could limit future flexibility, increase interest costs, and place a heavier burden on younger generations. One senator made the point that an economy can look strong in the short term while accumulating risks that don't show up until later. Trade policy also came under scrutiny. Senators discussed tariffs, supply chains, and the push to bring manufacturing back to the United States. Supporters argued that tough trade policies protect American workers and reduce dependence on foreign competitors. They claimed that short-term disruptions are worth it for long-term resilience. Critics countered that tariffs often function like hidden taxes on consumers, raising prices on everyday goods. They pointed out that small businesses and farmers can be caught in the middle of trade disputes, facing higher costs or reduced export markets. The question raised was whether the benefits of these policies are evenly distributed or concentrated in specific sectors. Throughout the hearing, what stood out wasn't just disagreement over facts, but disagreement over interpretation. Both sides often used the same data but told very different stories with it. One side emphasized momentum, confidence, and global competitiveness. The other emphasized affordability, inequality, and sustainability. As someone analyzing this from a broader perspective, it's important to acknowledge that both sides raise valid points. Economic data is complex. A strong economy at the macro level doesn't automatically translate into universal well-being. At the same time, dismissing positive indicators entirely can ignore real progress that has been made. For ordinary Americans, the real question is how policy choices affect daily life. Can you afford rent or a mortgage? Are groceries manageable? Do you feel secure in your job? Are you able to save for emergencies or retirement? These questions don't always align neatly with quarterly growth figures. Another theme that came up repeatedly during the hearing was trust. Trust in institutions, trust in government messaging, and trust that leaders are being honest about both successes and challenges. Some senators argued that overstating success can backfire if people feel their struggles are being ignored. Others warned that constant negativity can undermine confidence and slow economic momentum. This tension reflects a deeper issue in modern politics, the gap between national narratives and individual experiences. When leaders declare historic success, but people feel stuck, resentment can grow. On the flip side, when progress is real but dismissed, opportunities for constructive policy debate can be lost. One of the more compelling moments in the hearing came when a senator asked witnesses to explain how current policies would protect the economy during the next downturn. Economic cycles are inevitable. The question isn't whether another slowdown will happen, but when. Supporters expressed confidence that current growth creates a buffer. Critics argued that without structural reforms, the next downturn could hit harder than expected. This brings us to the broader implications. Economic policy isn't just about winning political arguments. It shapes the conditions under which people plan their lives. Decisions made today affect housing markets, education access, healthcare affordability, and job stability years down the line. That's why hearings like this matter, even if they sometimes feel repetitive or partisan. From a balanced perspective, it's fair to say the economy shows signs of strength in several areas. Investment levels, market performance, and job growth are not meaningless. At the same time, it's also fair to say that many Americans remain financially stressed, and aggregate numbers don't erase that reality. A more productive conversation would focus less on declaring victory or failure and more on addressing gaps. How do we ensure growth reaches rural areas as well as cities? How do we support small businesses alongside large corporations? How do we protect consumers while encouraging investment? The Senate hearing didn't fully answer these questions, but it did highlight them. And sometimes that's the point. Hearings are as much about framing the debate as they are about resolving it. For viewers watching at home, it's worth approaching these discussions with curiosity rather than loyalty. Ask what's missing from each argument. Ask whose voices aren't being heard. Ask how policies affect people differently depending on income, location, and life stage. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize that disagreement doesn't have to mean division. Reasonable people can look at the same economy and reach different conclusions based on values and priorities. The goal of 45th Perspective isn't to tell you what to think, but to give you the context you need to think critically. If you found this analysis helpful, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/45thperspective, even at $5 a month, makes a real difference and allows us to keep producing long-form content like this. Most importantly, I want to hear from you. How do you see the economy right now? Do the numbers discussed in this hearing match your personal experience? Where do you think policymakers are getting it right, and where are they missing the mark? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments. Let's keep the conversation thoughtful, informed, and grounded in reality. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.